And Jesse from Mount Desolation. Thanks so much for taking the time, guys. Really appreciate it.
Great to be here.
Record's been out for about a week, and I haven't stopped listening to it. There's so many nuances to the record that I find really interesting, and it says on the bio for the record, and it says on some of the press that you've gotten that it's an alt country record, but that's weird to me because I don't think it's an alt country record. I think it's an acoustic record, and I think there are moments of alt country. But to call you guys an alt country act wouldn't be fair. Is that accurate?
Well, we set out to make a country album, like in the most classic sense of the word. You know, a very kind of like 60s, 70s Nashville sounding record.
Right.
You know, really, because that seemed like a pretty fun challenge for a couple of English guys. Yeah, you know, it obviously evolved through the songwriting and all our different influences and all the different people who played on it into something that we then didn't really know how to categorise. So
right.
alt country was like, we felt was the closest we could get to an all-embracing term for it.
It's just a good record, I think, is
Thank
the way I would put it. You guys are both in Keene. What made you decide that you wanted to do something so different from the music that you were already making in a fairly successful band?
Well, I think we had a bit of time off naturally at the end of the touring cycle, and we wanted to do something with our friends. We thought, and we were talking about the idea of doing a country record, just for for fun. And it seems like it's a much easier kind of music than pop and rock to just get people together and just play and jam, I guess. So we just called everyone up, and it also seemed like a good idea to try and make it as separate from Keene as possible in terms of the way it sounded, just so that we didn't shortchange anyone, I guess.
And by friends, you mean the guys from Noah and the Whale, Mumford & Sons, who have had very successful careers thus far making the music that's on this record, the type of music that's on this record.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess we started off by thinking, well, who do we know who's a great banjo player, so
right.
We asked Winston from Mumford & Sons, and the same with Tom Hobden from Noah and the Whale. But then, really it kind of expanded to be, we've always wanted to make a record with John Roderick from For Long Winters over in Seattle, or, Ronnie from The Killers. I'd sort of talked about, trying to do something with at some point, and we hadn't got around to it. And, and then we had lots of other friends who are not sort of in famous bands or whatever, and we just wanted to get together with and make music with. So it just kind of got to the point where pretty much everyone we ran into ended up coming down to the studio and playing a guitar solo or doing some backing vocals.
So it was a very obviously collaborative process, but did you start with songs that you had written together, or was it sort of all collaborative in the studio in terms of the songs?
We pretty much wrote them separately,
yeah,
for the most part, and then kind of brought them together and tweaked them together.
Yeah, it was quite. I think it felt like it was good that we had all the songs. We actually had far too many songs before we went into the studio, so there was a sort of a quality control already there, and I think that gave us the freedom to then know that the basic songs were great, and we could pull in other people and really mess around, knowing that there was a solid foundation.
There's a female voice on many of the tracks, specifically singing backup vocals and on some of the harmonies. Is that one person, or is it a bunch of people? Because it's just right on point.
Yeah, she's amazing. It's a girl called Jessica Stavely Taylor who sings in a band called the Staves, who are kind of rising stars in London. And we met her coincidentally through Jesse and I were producing an EP for a young lad called Thomas J. Spate, and she was singing on that, and we were just blown away. She's got an incredible voice, and so we asked her to sing on.
We stole her, basically.
Basically, yeah.
You stole her.
Yeah. I went and saw him play the other day, and he had someone else singing backing vocals, and I felt awful.
But having said that, I mean, she did all the, pretty much all the stuff that you can really hear clearly. But there's also Jesse's mum did some lovely backing vocals. She's a great singer, and my wife also did a little bit of backing vocals. And
wow. Is there
the less
anybody?
said about her singing.
Is there anybody that lives in England that is not on the record? Because it seems like wow, there's so many people.
There are a lot of people. I think there's about 20 odd people involved in the.
Wow,
It's great.
that's great.
That's what it's all about. It's just such good fun.
You mentioned that the tracks on the record, you had more than just what's on the record. Is there an opportunity that you guys are going to go back into the studio and mix some more, play some more B-sides?
I guess we've put out 1 or 2 of them already as little bonus tracks,
Right.
that kind of thing. But I don't know. It would be nice to. We've actually already started playing a couple of new songs live as well. So we're we seem to have a lot of songs coming out of this, which is great. It's a really nice position to be in.
It probably speaks to the country tradition, right, of writing a lot of songs and only finding some of them on the record and some of them when you're playing live, right? That speaks to very much what the project was about.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you about a couple songs on the record, if you don't mind. Departure is an apt way to start the record, I think, because it is such a departure from the music that you've made already. Tell me a bit about that song and how it came about.
Well, that was pretty much the first song I wrote for the record, and I think I was in New York City actually last summer, just sort of wandering around and having a bit of a break and having a bit of time to think, and I guess I felt like I was at a juncture in my life where I really felt like there were all these things I wanted to do and I wasn't getting them done, and so I guess for me it's a very positive song and very full of excitement at possibilities and trying to embrace new things and really live life.
Who's Annie Ford?
Annie Ford isn't a real person, sadly. This is just a story, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just trying to meet her, I think, is the point, because she seems perfect.
Well, someone said to us the other day that apparently there is an Annie Ford and she was a famous busker.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to look that up.
ExploreMusic wears English Laundry apparel.